Hey guys, welcome to the Talking Bananas first ever movie vlog review. I am Robert Nance, and you two introduce yourselves.
Brett Broaddus.
I'm Eli Jones.
And
AKA
we're here to talk about Man of Steel, the
Man
new
of Sadness.
Superman movie directed by Zack Snyder, director of Sucker Punch, and some other films. I don't know. I think he directed Watchmen, I'm not sure. Anyways, Man of Steel is the story of Superman.
Kind of.
Yeah. And there will be spoilers in this review. Like...
So if you don't like spoilers, you can just go away right now.
Yes. Okay, number one spoiler. There's a lot of baby junk in this movie.
Oh yeah, that's.
I mean it.
Babies everywhere.
And I mean seriously. And they show it, like... At first they try to hide it, but then they show a close-up of baby Superman.
Baby junk.
They show baby Superman, and all of a sudden, right up in front of them, center of the screen is baby penis. I mean it. Baby penis.
You know.
And then they flash back to the scene, and they show the baby penis again. They show it like, yeah.
About 4 times.
All throughout the thing. And it's right front and center, so you can't miss the baby penis.
No. It's
Wait,
kind of
it's
blurred.
just like a long
you know.
little tube, but like there's no balls. It's weird. Okay, never mind. I'll stop that.
I mean it. It's like, I don't understand why Zack
Yeah.
Snyder had to put such a focus on the baby penis. It's just...
Yeah.
So then so then they use this like skull type thing and they put it in the sensor, and then he
Called the
blasts
codex.
off.
It's
It's like,
called the Codex.
Here's where he's showing them because it doesn't stink.
and now people are wrecking our.
You
This
you
movie
people
review.
are wrecking our Man of Steel
Oh,
review.
You were baddest. Leave.
You are ruining our review.
Okay, I'll be honest.
We were talking about... Okay, so we were talking about the baby penis. And let's see. Okay, and that appears like a few times, but there's an unusual amount of baby penis in the movie. I don't
Yeah,
understand why.
And cleavage. Lots of cleavage.
Maybe cleavage.
Yeah, it's like baby porn going on there.
So once he,
It's like a Serbian film all up in this thing.
Yeah.
so then he starts seeing weird junk, like he can see through people and hear their minds and stuff, and then
Yeah. Okay, so at the beginning of the movie.
and lots of them.
The beginning of the movie is that they're on Krypton. They're on Krypton, and Russell Crowe, playing Jor-El, is angry because the council will not
Evacuate.
help them save the core from melting down. Which, yeah,
It's stupid.
yeah.
They refuse, and then all of a sudden General Zod
General
comes
Zod
in
comes in.
and kills like half the elders.
Yeah, he kills them. And this is a very weird thing for Zod. He never says once in the thing. He never wants anyone to kneel before him, which was his whole thing. He always wants people to kneel before him, and he doesn't say that even once in this movie.
Nope. And then after the Krypton scene, it's kind of weird. It goes straight. It shoots him off, and he lands in Kansas, but it doesn't show him landing. It goes
And then-
straight to when he's about 30 years old. It's kind of screwed up.
Yeah, and so Zod and all his crew for trying to revolt against Krypton. Zod, meanwhile, in the first 10 minutes of the film, kills Jor-El, and they get sentenced to the Phantom Zone.
The
Which-
Phantom Zone is basically
A
a
black hole.
chamber which they get frozen for a certain amount of time before they can come back.
Which actually,
Well,
later in the
eternity.
film, it's revealed that them being sentenced to the Phantom Zone actually saved their lives. Which was a thing in the originals, but you know, that I still...
This movie compared to the original
His-
sucks dick. It just
His,
not that
it,
big donkey penis.
Superman's mom knew that the world was going to end, but yet she's still okay with them sending to the Phantom Zone, which I guess they figured that it would last the entire time, but their sentence gets ended when the planet gets destroyed. Maybe that was a safety feature, and I think most people, if that was a safety feature, I'm pretty sure someone would have known about that. Meaning that they saved Zod's life for being a criminal.
The system overrided and basically ended their sentence as soon as the planet blew up.
Yeah, and
There's lots of explosions in this movie.
yeah, there's lots of explosions, and there's also a lot of product placement too, because there's IHOP and Sears And I mean, lots of IHOP.
Area
I mean,
53.
they stop at
I
the
mean, one.
they stop at the IHOP like 5 times in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
They even fight in the IHOP.
yeah.
There's a very intense fighting scene in the IHOP.
Then they fly past the scene, and they fly past the sign, and they fly past the sign, and the sign's like front and center.
It's just like this big.
IHOP.
And then
IHOP.
then Superman's just like right here, just like little bitty Superman flying past. Like,
And
hey,
then-
there's IHOP.
IHOP probably had to pay a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah. IHOP.
IHOP.
By the way, we don't own anything that IHOP is like copyrighted.
Sponsor.
Yes.
See, like Tabasco, sponsor. IHOP is a sponsor.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Well,
There's lots of
nothing really
explosions.
happens in the first half of the movie after the Krypton scene. I mean,
Besides a lot.
nothing. He gets some flashbacks about how he can't control his powers when he's younger, and then he saves people, but they don't like it because it's weird. And so when Clark's like 15, Clark Kent is Superman, just in case you didn't know that.
If you didn't know that, you're a
retard.
retard.
And welcome from underneath the cave you've been living at for the past 60 or so years.
Yeah.
Clark Kent is Superman, and so after like he's 15, Clark's dad shows him the spaceship that he landed in. I'm pretty sure he probably should have shown that to him earlier.
Which he
because
does it in the originals, does he?
I don't
I think
remember
that
when he
actually-
shows him.
You should have shown it to him when he was like 4. That way he could have freaking forgot about it.
I think that Clark actually found it himself in the original, didn't he?
I don't remember.
I don't
No
know.
one remembers.
It's late. We saw this at 7:30 and it's now 10.
2.5 hours.
10:15.
Okay, I'm
Two
gonna
and
go
a half.
take
2.5
it now
hour
or
long.
something.
It's a
Oh.
2.5
Whoa,
hour
whoa.
long movie.
I almost tripped over the piano. Be right back. Be right back.
Okay, he'll be back soon. So,
Maybe.
maybe. So, if not, that was Eli Jones and he just left us. So, yeah, and so, yeah, they talk about Clark Kent and try to figure out something. He finds a ship buried in the Arctic because he keeps having jobs in the Arctic, and yet he still has time to find jobs working in bars because the first half of the movie takes place over like a year, but it only seems like it takes place over a week or something. But it's all like, apparently he worked at his bar job for a few months, and then he worked at this one post for a few months and all this stuff, and it all seemed like it took place over a long period of time, but the movie didn't really focus on it that much, so it only seemed like he changed, like he had 15 jobs in 7 days, which, if that was the case, I'd be really impressed, because that's a major downturn time. It's like he got over 2 jobs a day, so
Yeah, it's kind of weird because he never actually quits his job. He usually just walks out. He
yeah.
walks out.
Apparently he at the bar job he had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know. She doesn't really appear in the movie besides that one scene.
Once.
Okay.
And then,
They're douchebags.
Yeah,
Don't
so
put that in here.
Yeah, so okay, so I didn't really like this movie. They sort of thought it was okay.
There was lots of explosions.
I didn't like
the
it, but okay, there was one scene I liked. It was the bar scene. Everybody in the audience burst out laughing when this happened because Clark tries to stop this guy from
from molesting this woman.
his girlfriend.
his girlfriend, I guess, because something happened.
She called him baby, so
They were
I guess.
dating, but she doesn't really appear in the movie. Anyways, like the guy, like Clark goes to stop him, and then he starts to fight him. He pushes on
and
Clark.
then the guy like
Clark doesn't move, but the guy goes back like 5 feet.
yeah, he like tries to tackle him, and he's just standing there like a wall, and he hits him and goes boom.
Boop. And everybody in the theater burst out laughing when that happened. I don't know if that was supposed to be funny or not, but it certainly was.
And then after he left, he controlled his anger at that part by not completely smashing by not completely smashing the guy's face in, and walks out of the theater. walks out of the theater, and
Walks out of the yeah. He
Out of the
walks out of
bar.
his own. He
Yeah.
walks out of his own movie because he's
no,
not
no.
proud because he says that he doesn't want to be in this thing anymore, and he
No.
just walks out of the movie, and then he goes
And
into
then all of a sudden, his
and then he
truck
goes
is-
into This Is the End because it's a much better movie.
no, he walks out of the bar and
and his truck is totaled. By the way, he came in a semi truck.
not Superman, the dude that was pushing on Superman. Superman leaves, and then about an hour later, the guy leaves, and his truck has logs smashed.
I
Through
thought
it. It
I
was
thought
like-
that Superman just messed up with the electrical poles and just took him out of the ground and smashed him through his truck.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's what happened. He had wood on the back of his truck, and he took it and just like slammed it through the front.
I thought that there were sparks coming from the log, so I'm just like,
That was
did
probably
Superman
from
just
the-
take off the? Did Superman just take out the electric poles and just ruin the power for all the town? That.
He killed more people than he saved in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
He was just like, okay, everyone go into this building while I fly off.
everyone go into this building. Like 3 minutes later, he crashes through the building, taking an enemy with him. Yeah,
Real
that.
smart.
And if you think of Man of Steel, I'm pretty sure 2 Men of Steel hitting people is gonna fracture like half the bones in their body. At least break.
Kill him.
Yeah.
It's gonna kill them. They're gonna go into like concussion and be like, and then like fall and die because
Oh,
of the explosion.
and one thing, there's nothing about kryptonite in this movie. There's nothing about.
well,
There's
the,
one part.
the,
One part where he keeps like.
The
spitting out
director
blood.
says that he's not going to put kryptonite in because he wants to make a realistic movie about an alien who can fly.
That's what. Why would if you're gonna make, but if you're going to make
Actually, he just said he wanted to make a realistic Superman movie, but that's basically what he means. He wants to make a realistic movie about an alien who looks human.
Who talks human?
Well, yeah.
well, here's the thing.
You're pretty sure that he wouldn't be like clink 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 clink.
You're just asking for bad reviews and bad, just people hating the movie because you change it. You change it from the original so much that it's a new story and nothing about the originals.
Well, that's worked in the past for some series. Like Batman Begins, it wasn't really like any comic that had really been there, and it focused more on Bruce Wayne and how he became Batman. But that's the thing. It focused on Bruce Wayne becoming Batman. Man
It
of Steel
actually had
does
to.
not focus on Clark Kent
It
becoming Superman.
it goes
he
directly
just,
from him being like a month old to being 35.
he just is Superman. He's Superman. There's no reason to know why.
Oh, and you know how he's in one of the originals. It actually might not be an original, but I'm not sure. It's in one of the movies that has stuff from it. He is running through the field and he figures out that he can fly and stuff. That doesn't happen until he's about 35, 40, 33-ish. You know.
It's like half his
Yeah.
age, just like.
Yeah, he's 33 when he learns how to fly. Because his dad doesn't. Because Jonathan Kent doesn't want him to show off his powers because everyone will reject him.
Oh yeah.
Which is
and
why
then
he-
died. This is why he dies in a tornado.
Yeah, because his dad's in a tornado, has to rescue the dog. Clark wants to go because he knows that he can survive it, but no, his dad.
His dad just stands there
dad
with
goes-
like a broken foot.
He's
He
just
goes,
like, stop.
don't do this.
And then
And then the tornado just like takes him away.
Yeah.
And then this red-haired chick named
Lois Lane.
Lois Lane,
Lois
who's a
Lane.
redhead. She's a redhead. She's always had black hair, but now she's a redhead.
ginger alert.
No.
Which, you know, at this
No.
point, I would have preferred a Smallville movie because I mean, at least they had a better plot, and he did become Superman at the end of Smallville season 10. So, you know, I would have preferred a Smallville movie, and I'm not even that big a fan of Smallville.
Yeah, Smallville was a horrible TV show, and Smallville had more Superman stuff, like original Superman stuff, than this movie did. So yeah, I would give it more of a 4 to 5 out of 10. Not really a.
The explosions, the action in this movie is a 9 out of 10. I say.
The critics gave it a 55 out of 100. I say that is generous.
Yeah, I say that's more than generous. I did not like this film. I thought that Zack Snyder and everybody else was just trying to copy the magic that made Batman work. But here's the difference between Batman and Superman. Batman is
Rich.
Batman is either supposed to be completely funny or completely serious. because the 60s Batman series worked when it came out because it was a parody of all the superhero shows and all the superhero things because it's what caused people to think superheroes were meant to be silly. The Dark Knight series worked because it was super serious and stuff. But Superman is not supposed to be dark and gritty. Superman is supposed to be a beacon of hope. He's supposed to be bright
That's why
and
that's what
cheery.
the S on his. Apparently, the S isn't an S. It's a symbol, which means S symbol.
It means
Everyone
hope.
knew
It's in the commercials. You can see it's in the commercials because he's just like,
If
what's
you didn't
the
even see
S?
commercial,
What's
then
the
you're
S?
like,
What's the S stand for? It's not an S. It stands for hope. On Earth, it's an S. It's in the commercials. It's in the movie. Although I think the situation is different because when I remember seeing it in the commercial, the two of them were standing in the middle of a battle when it happened, and then he flew off into the city. But in the movie, they're sitting down because Clark gave himself up to the police and handcuffed him. And
My
stuff
phone
and-
was dreaming.
like, how do you handcuff somebody that's made of steel? Like,
Well,
No, he was like,
well, he like, no, he
What,
gave
son?
himself up
What?
to it. He gave himself up, and so he didn't try to break out of the handcuffs. He just like
and he
that,
stood up
and then he stands up, and then he just takes up the
he just,
handcuffs. It's
he
just
doesn't
like
even, he doesn't, it's like no effort.
it's no
He's just-
it's no effort because he could have done that any time. Which he could have done that any time. Which okay, the ending of the film. You want to know how he defeats General Zod?
he snaps his neck. This is what he does. He's holding him like this.
And General Zod is doing
And-
eye beams at this one family in the middle of a bank, and he's doing it like James Bond style, moving it slowly and slowly.
And so he's like, if
And
you really love these
slowly-
people, you must let me go. And so then he just like takes him and just snaps his neck.
He snaps his neck, which cuts out the thing. He snaps his neck.
And then starts screaming for about 20 minutes.
He's like,
No!
He's like this. No! He's looking up like this. No! Okay, there we go. Yeah, like that.
yeah.
And
He
so,
snapped Zod's neck.
oh, then
He
the hot
could
chick-
have done that at any time.
But he had to do it whenever the laser was this close to to the family's face.
I'm not even just talking about that scene. I'm talking about any time he was with Zod, he could have just snapped his neck, and all this movie
Or
would have
just,
been
or he
over.
could have just like fried him with his freaking laser eyes.
And
Wait.
everyone knows that Superman in the originals was a hero. He could save everyone. He was never a dark, gritty. He was more of a it's a bird, it's a plane, Superman. He would always save everyone. Never let anyone die. No one ever died in the originals, really. Like, no one ever died unless they were bad. And in this one, everyone died. Everyone died.
There's only two people. Well, okay. There's only like two people that Superman actually saves. It's this one guy who falls out of a helicopter. Superman catches him before he hits the ground, and Lois Lane. Those are like the only two people that Superman actually saves. Like his mom was gonna get attacked, but then he stopped that, but he didn't really save her because he left her with all the other Kryptonians.
I'm surprised they didn't.
I'm surprised they didn't do anything either. I mean, he takes out one of them, but there's like 5 more with his mom. And
Why?
they just leave her alone because it's just like, oh, he's gonna protect her?
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Hey, let's
Oh,
go to
no.
IHOP and get a pancake.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and you wanna know what's ironic? According to things like, you're the positive person about this, and I'm not. But according to this one website, the red person's always the hothead who hates everything, and the blue person's always the calm and collected person. I just find that ironic. I just realized that. Anyways, that has nothing to do with the movie. I just like to mention that.
True.
And then let's see what else about Superman. Man of Steel. Despite what you think, with Jor-El getting killed off like 10 minutes into the movie, he does appear in the rest of the film as a holographic.
Well, he's
Ghost.
not even a holographic. It's more of he's just there.
It's a computer. It's like he's a computer program, and he can be anywhere on a ship that he's uploaded to. Because like on this one scene, like Lois Lane is running through the ship and he's guiding her, and that's like he guides her through one door, and then she goes through the door, and he's automatically there again. It's just like pointing her to the way there. It's just like
And he shuts doors like this.
Yeah, he just likes to be theatrical because he opens the door like this and then does that. I'm surprised he didn't open a door saying "Open Sesame." And yeah, and so and they don't have kryptonite, but the Kryptonian atmosphere makes Superman weaker. And since he got adapted to the Earth's atmosphere, he starts bleeding when he does that. He starts bleeding when he's in the Kryptonian atmosphere. But apparently, one hallucination mind meld later, he's perfectly fine. And then the Lois Lane meets up with the Jor-El holograph thing, and they turns it to Earth conditions anyways.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm just saying, if you want to see this movie, don't waste $20. Don't waste all your money to go to the theater. Wait till it's in the $5 bin, which will be about 2 months.
and also don't see it in 3D because the
No.
3D gave me a headache, and I don't.
No point. There was
And
nothing
I
cool
saw-
in 3D.
And I actually took off my 3D glasses, and there was nothing even blurry about the screen at some
It looked
points.
like your screen right now.
It just looked like I take off the glasses. It's the exact same as if I have the glasses on, except it's a little brighter, which actually is better because it was so dark. At some points, I couldn't even tell that Superman had colors on his thing. It was
No,
so dark,
it was
it looked
all-
like it was all gray. It's just all that.
It was a dark, gritty film, which is Batman, not Superman. Superman's supposed to be
Superman's
More
bright
of
and
a-
cheery, Batman's dark and gritty. It's supposed to be like that, and
opposites.
and I hear they're already planning a sequel because they want to have two Superman films. They want to have two Superman films and introduce a Justice League film by having films for the other ones, which, if they do a Justice League film, I hope that Aquaman is part of that because as much as everyone hates Aquaman, I want Aquaman to be in it so in the Justice League film, he can be useless through most of the film, but I want the final battle to take place over the ocean so that Aquaman can be the one who saves the day by calling all his ocean friends and saving the day with all his water and all that stuff because Aquaman deserves credit for being awesome.
You know, truthfully, I like Aquaman.
Yeah, I like Aquaman too. Like, my favorite DC superhero is Aquaman, and my favorite Marvel superhero is Thor. Which is-
You know, my favorite DC has to probably be, well, it's either Superman or Batman. And here's the thing, they completely murdered the Superman in this movie.
Yeah. I was never a big fan of Superman myself. I just thought that he was sort of the generic superhero and
Yeah.
all that. And then Batman, I never really got into Batman either. I mean, I didn't even care about the Batman film franchises until Dark Knight Rises. I mean, like, I fell asleep the first time I saw The Dark Knight. Granted, it was like midnight, and we were watching it after a marathon of some other movies, but I mean, I fell asleep during the first part of it, and I don't fall asleep during movies easily, especially not when I'm watching them for the first time.
Oh, I'm just saying, don't waste your money on this Superman movie. Waste it on, or don't even, you're not going to waste it if you go see Star Trek. Use it on Star Trek, Into
Or
Darkness.
if you want to do it on something that's more recent, go see This Is the End. I know it's rated R, and it's not a superhero film, but it's supposed to be really good, and I've heard great things about it and stuff. And I know it might not be for all of you out there watching a Superman review, but
If it's not, go
it's
see
better
Star
than
Trek.
Man of Steel, I can tell you
Yeah.
that. I mean, or better yet, just wait and go see, or better yet, just wait till sometime and go see whatever. Don't go see Man of Steel, cause
No.
no, see Man of Steel. I just can't wait, cause pretty soon Monsters University comes out, and I can't wait for that, cause I want to see that.
See, I used to love Monsters Inc. when I was little, so that's kind of an excitement for me. And I want my little brothers to get into Monsters Inc. Like, they've been showing Toy Story on Disney Channel recently, and the Toy Story and Monsters Inc. and Hercules were my 3 favorite movies when I was little. So I want my little brothers to get into that. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, when I was younger, I think my 3 favorite movies that we owned was like Toy Story, Toy Story 2. I think we consider both of those the same movie. Bugs Life. I'm thinking of DVDs. We had Monsters Inc. I loved Monsters Inc. I still think Monsters Inc. is my favorite Pixar film. I don't know. It's either Monsters Inc. or Bugs Life. Those are the two that I love the most. I mean, I'm not saying that Toy Stories are bad. It's just I'm more of a comedy fan, and while Toy Story is a comedy, it's not trying to be funny all the time. And not that I'm saying they're always trying to be funny, but I just like it when it's trying to be funny more often than not. Which is why I didn't hate Cars 2. I mean, Cars 2 isn't even my least favorite Pixar film. The original Cars is, because the original Cars is just boring. And I hate things that are boring more than I don't care if something stupid happens, just as long as something happens. Which, the second half of the Man of Steel, though, stuff happens. Stuff happens in the second half. But the first half, aside from when you're on Krypton, nothing happens in the first half of the movie. As soon as Zod reappears in the movie, everything happens. Everything happens.
The first half is more of a outrage to me, just because it's one, boring, and two, has nothing in common with the old ones. It's just
Okay, I know I said I liked the barge scene. The one other thing that I liked was that they did include Lana Lang. They did include her. She was on the bus. And I really liked that, because as much as I don't care for Smallville, I still like that, and I think she might have been a character before then, but that's really what I know her from, since she was one of the main characters in Smallville for pretty much the entire series. And yeah. And so, if you want to watch a Superman film, over Man of Steel, I would recommend Superman, Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4, and Superman Returns.
Superman Returns was actually good because it was a remake of the original Superman, and it actually had something to do with the original Superman. It wasn't technically
a remake, it was technically a sequel.
Yeah, but it had Lex Luthor in it. This one has nothing to do with Lex Luthor except a couple of buses that say LexCorp.
Well, they're not buses, they're gas.
True.
They're gas trucks, and they explode because everything in this movie explodes. Like, they crash through a building, the building explodes because
Some reason.
Michael Bay!
Yeah!
Michael Bay! Although I actually like most of his films more than I like this film. I love the Transformers films. I still think the third one's my favorite out of all of them.
I hadn't even seen the third one.
You should. I think it's the best one. Granted, that may be just because I don't like Megan Fox and she's not in that one. So, yeah. Anyways, I don't really know if I have anything else to say about this film.
It was just terrible. I mean, it was a good.
I don't know if there was anything after the credits because we didn't stay for it. If there is, maybe you can tell me in the comments if there's not anything after the credits. Well, we didn't miss anything. If there is something like it's a thing foreshadowing the Justice League, I don't know.
If you like action films,
I don't really think they can foreshadow the Justice League because Superman's the one who puts the Justice League together. So unless he meets up with another superhero, like maybe if Joseph Gordon-Levitt is there, because I hope they use the Joseph Gordon-Levitt Batman, although I know they won't because they want it to be Bruce Wayne, which I really like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's in quite a few films that I like. He's in Looper, which I love. My family doesn't, but I love Looper. Then there's what else was he in that I like? Dark Knight Rises, of course. And Angels in the Outfield I liked, and he's in that. So although I don't know if they'll get Christian Bale to do the Justice League movie, because I mean that's unless there's like both being Batman at the same time. One protects Gotham and the other's in the Justice League.
Interesting.
Although I don't know if they do the Christian Bale Batman in the Justice League, they're gonna have to put Catwoman in there somewhere since she's the one he ended up with at the end of that. Spoilers for that movie in case you hadn't seen it. It's been out for a year now. So,
Boxes.
yeah, they're falling.
Boxes.
I got it. So, yeah, that was Man of Steel.
Snowbird out. Check out Snowbirds.
Yeah,
On
that's his
YouTube.
YouTube channel.
Check out
Snowbird.
Snowbirds. SNOBIRDS.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that. And yeah. And let's see. Can I think of anything else I want to say about Man of Steel while I'm here alone? Huh. No. I got nothing. Yeah, if I were to rate this film on a scale of 1 to 10, 2, 3, somewhere in there. I'm not a big fan of Superman to begin with, but I mean, I saw the other films and I didn't hate them. I mean, heck, I would even play Superman 64 than watch this movie again. And I've never even played Superman 64. I just know, I hear how bad it is. I see Proton John's Let's Play of it. I would rather play that game than watch this movie again. Heck, if I find enough glitches to speedrun it, if I find glitches that can speedrun it, I might be able to finish the game faster than I can finish the movie. The movie's 2.5 hours long. It felt like it was going on for 3 hours. Well, that isn't much of an exaggeration. It felt for 3 hours for the first half. Second half only felt like it took an hour, so 4 hours total for a 2.5 hour movie. Which I had the opposite problem with Dark Knight Rises. It felt like it was only 90 minutes for a 2 hour, 45-minute movie. Seems anytime I can think a movie lasting around the 90-minute range, it's a good movie. Because, I mean, even shorter movies, like, I know, Big Time Movie's only an hour, 7 minutes, and wow, I referenced Big Time Movie in the Talking Bananas Man of Steel review. But it's only like an hour 10. And I thought it had enough content in there to fit 90 minutes. It didn't feel like it was dragging, but I felt like, oh, I wasted 90 minutes. Oh, it hadn't been 90 minutes yet. It didn't feel like it dragged. It just felt like 90 minutes is the time that it's the time that I grew up with that an average movie should be, is 90 minutes. So as long as a movie feels like it lasts 90 minutes, I'm good. Anyways, I'm not talking about Man of Steel anymore because, really, I just want to forget the movie. I do. I think this is the worst movie I've seen this year. Yeah. Worst movie that I've seen this year, but then again, that isn't saying much considering the only movies I've seen in theaters this year are Iron Man 3, Star Trek Into Darkness, Man of Steel, and I think that's it. I think that's it. I'm just trying to think if there's any movies that came out in 2013 that I've seen on DVD, but I don't think so. So I think those 3 movies. So of course Man of Steel is going to be the worst one. I just hope that Thor 2 is really good. I hope it should be, although I still stand by my theory that Loki's going to die in the movie. Because it looks like he has Jane held hostage. Malekith has Jane held hostage, and then someone falls, but it doesn't show the face. And then Thor yells no, so obviously Loki sacrificed himself for Jane, so that Jane and Thor could be together. At least that's my theory. But then again, I'm not a Thorky or whatever, or a Loki anybody shipper, so... Anyways, if you want to check out my solo stuff, which is more of me rambling like I am now, I'm DeweyFin21. And, this has been the Talking Bananas, sort of. Those people won't probably be in any other Talking Bananas reviews since they're my brother's friends, since this is my brother's birthday party. Yeah. And it's not even his birthday for another hour and a half. Anyways, this has been DeweyFin21, Talking Bananas channel. I'm gonna try to be back for Monsters University. Me and this other guy, Gizbo. We're gonna try to do a Monsters University review. Because we both love Monsters, Inc. And I hear good things about Monsters University. I hear good things, so I don't want to be disappointed. So, yeah, anyways, I think I've nearly forgotten this. Except for the baby penis. Because the movie has too much baby penis. So, yeah, bye. Okay, quick note that I forgot to mention in the actual review. I think I forgot to mention it. I don't remember. Anyways, there is a lot of shaky cam in this movie. And it's sort of gradual, like this. Gradual, but it's in the weirdest places, like establishing shots. Like it's just showing a planet. It's shaking. Shows a close-up. It's shaking. It is weird where the shaky cam is and isn't. I don't understand it. But I hear Zack Snyder does that a lot in his films. I haven't really seen any of his films because I wasn't into comic books or superheroes of anything when Watchmen came out. Still haven't seen it because my family doesn't know what it is. And I've heard of Sucker Punch, seen a review of it, so I've seen clips of it, but I've never seen the actual movie. And I have no idea what else he directed. So, yeah. That was just a quick note I wanted to make. Oh, wait, before I forget. There are J.J. Abrams levels of lens flares in this movie. J.J. Abrams levels. I mean, and at least some of the sources make sense because Superman is hovering in front of the sun, so lens flare. Wow, that was bad. I can't tell what angle the camera is, so I'm not going to be a cinematographer when I grow up. I might be a producer or a director, but not a cinematographer. No. Cinematography is just not my thing. So, yeah, that was a quick-ish note over Man of Steel. Still sucks. And so, yeah.